The beginning of Warrior Watchers actually starts in fall of 2015, when Western School of Science and Technology and the Maryvale Revitalization Corporation launched the Warrior Wisdom Program, which was an opportunity for students to learn and develop and grow, mentored by outside speakers that are very involved in the community. And some of those speakers came from the Phoenix Police Department. At the same time, there was a spike in muggings in the Maryvale community that targeted youth. And so an idea was brought to the Warrior Wisdom Program to ask students, what would you do about this? And those led into great conversations between the students in the program, the school, the Maryvale Revitalization Corporation, and the police department. And the idea was born to create the first school-based block watch here at Western School of Science and Technology.
A program like Warrior Watch is important to the community and the youth because it breaks down some of the bridges that are there between the public and the police department. It allows us to show them, both the youth and the community, that there's a different side of the police department, that we are people, and there's more to it than just, getting in trouble or getting a ticket.
As we in the Phoenix Police Department and the Maryvale Precinct continued our attempts to constantly increase our connectivity with community, one of the things that we saw that is imperative for sustainability in our law enforcement efforts and our public safety efforts was engaging youth. And the reality of a lot of what we were doing out there, 700 plus community meetings a year through our community action officers, but a lot of those community people were the elders from our communities. And so we were getting that voice and that perspective, but one of the voices and the perspectives that we felt we needed to continue to work harder at was the youth perspective.
There's officers at a school, they're like scared and they're hiding themselves, like they don't want to talk to them, or they just hide their faces. But that shouldn't happen because they don't know what police officers are there for.
The biggest tangible impact that we've seen so far for our students is that there has been a real spark in some students who have been inspired to pursue a career in law enforcement simply because they see the officers behind the badge as human. And they have built a relationship with someone whom they trust and can see as a mentor figure, and that's really exciting for us. I think also for students not involved in the program, there's a real opportunity. When they see students interacting with police officers on campus, the officers aren't here to arrest students or to question them. They're here to build relationships and to learn. And when that type of approach is taken in a community like ours, there is a real element of trust that develops over time.
Warrior Watch is valuable to the community because it's going to teach us about police and how they interact with other people and how they want to take care of us.
Even from students who aren't involved in the Watchers program, they see the officers and the detectives as trustworthy community leaders that they can rely on. And I think that's a major benefit to an approach like Warrior Watchers that aims to build a relationship so students see a human and not just a badge.
In all my experience working with programs like the Warrior Watch program, as well as working in the schools many years before as a school resource officer, programs like this are huge. They're instrumental in bridging that gap and getting the transparency that the people want from the police department, starting out with the youth. The people that are going to lead this country of tomorrow. They're impressionable. A lot of them don't have necessarily opinions or anything like that, other than what they've been told. Programs like this allow us to show the other side of the police department, show them the person behind the badge, rather than just the cop that they see coming out and enforcing the law and only the negative aspects that they perceive in relation to the police department and police officers.
I learned how the dispatch responds to the calls and how fast they need to be.
If we don't know where you're at or where the problem is, we can't send help. So it's very important to at least give us the address of where something is happening.
So we want them to be good observers. So we're going to ask a complete suspect description, top to bottom, out to in. We ask descriptions on things that don't change for them. For example, their race. We're going to ask if they're white, black, Hispanic, Indian, Asian, age, height and weight, And then we're gonna go to clothing. So we wanna know out to in. So their jacket, what color shirt they've got underneath their jacket, their pants, and then any other key factors that would stand out about that suspect. Hair, glasses, sunglasses, if they've got any scars or tattoos.
And we're both bald. And we're both bald. What's up? There you go. So what's something different? There you go. So if you saw both of us going down the street, we're both wearing black shirts. If he didn't have a hat on, you wouldn't know the difference. But I got tattoos on my arms, he doesn't.
Seeing something visual, it taught me more, like knowing their task and everything.
You can see it does give the telephone number. I'm sorry, what type of location it is. So this is a business, the phone number, and then the exact address. So this is an example of the U.S. Bank at 3800 West Happy Valley. So I was describing to the kids how the air unit, we work with the air unit and how our mapping system is involved as well. We use our mapping system to help direct officers into a scene.
You know, down in the dispatch room, how they have to multitask and how the difficult job that our dispatchers have, which is a vital link to the police department also.
Yeah, so the idea was how do we tap into that youth perspective while simultaneously increasing safety, while simultaneously ensuring the health and welfare of youth in the neighborhood, and making it part of the learning process, part of breaking down the barriers with children, ensuring that children understood that we're human and that the police officer was something to be trusted, and that is sacred for them to be able to connect with and provide that relationship. So that's where the youth block watch concept was born.
Warrior Watch has helped me become more comfortable talking to a police officer because they helped me understand how they can help me in current problems in the community, and like I can talk to them, they can help me step by step understand everything.
So one of the things that's really important is that these children have to go back into their environments. But we want them to go back armed with some of the positive things we've taught them, some of the coaching mechanisms we've given them to be able to make sure they're healthy. But we don't want them to go back and feel like they're snitches. We don't want them to go back and have problems with those in their community. So this isn't turning kids into snitches to have them come report crime. The byproduct of the relationship, the byproduct of the mentoring, the byproduct of teaching them some of the skills of normalcy related to what should be a normal neighborhood, a normal family structure, is that they start to realize these things, and under the umbrella of these relationships and conversations, natural things flow out of them that we then can have conversations about, and then what happens is reporting. Reporting happens, and we're able to then, as a police department, respond to some of those issues that are brought to light through that organic process of engaging that child's mind.
The third question is, when did this happen? This is going to determine our priority time frame. So we need to know if this occurred within the last 5 minutes, then it's going to be what we call a hot call. And if this occurred a couple days ago, then obviously it's not as high of a priority as if it's occurring now and if it's a life-threatening emergency.
This year, after conversations with Commander Connolly and Dwight Amory from the Maryvale Revitalization Corporation, and based on what our students' interests were, this year Warrior Watchers has begun to give those students a real impact and opportunity to be the change that they'd like to see in their neighborhood by increasing the safety in the community and the strong links with our first responders.
What other subjects or topics do you guys want covered by us? And when he says guest speakers, I can get our SWAT team to come out, I can get our K-9 to come out, we can get lawyers, we can get county attorneys. It really runs the gamut, because one of the things as community action officers that we do is we're a resource.
As policing gets more into community-based policing, you start to see more police officers getting out there that doing things. You see cops dancing on TV. You see cops out there playing basketball with students at a park or at a school. These programs are working great to allow us to build those bridges, but it's helping the police officers let their guard down and show people, hey, you know what? I'm a person too. Look, I can break dance like you, or I can shoot hoops. I even remember myself when I was a school resource officer, I went out and I would go play kickball with the kids.
It shows us how the police helps us and they're not that bad and they don't want to like hurt us.
You know, things like that, you know, go out and interact with the kids and you know, do some of the same things that they do.
Policing is a relationship-based mission. Everything we do relies on powerful collaborative relationships. And the Phoenix Police Department is vibrant with that concept, has tons of them in the community. And out in Maryvale, we had Dwight Amory and the Maryvale Revitalization Corporation. They have been a stalwart as it relates to bringing great programming, sustainable programming to the community with a whole host of things. Dwight leading that in his partnerships over at Western Schools of Science and Technology, where we met with Peter at the end of the day, sitting down collaboratively and brainstorming what each entity could bring to bear under the umbrella of this youth block watch. Their mascot was the Warriors, so Warrior Watch, to be able to provide police officers, education, private partner collaboration with youth for some of the basic tenets of public safety and health for youth.
Officer McCombs was my favorite instructor because he was very engaging with us and like taught us new things. He wanted to interact with us.
After the students originated the idea for a student and school-based Black Watch program, Dwight Amory, Commander Connolly, and myself met in June of 2016 to flesh out what that might look like, and all ideas were on the table. I think we were all just very excited by the opportunity to start something new and really see the potential that our youth and our students have for being a critical force for public safety in our neighborhoods. And at that first meeting, it was a little bit electric to really hear the ideas from all of the different stakeholders about what is possible when we link community development, civic engagement, public safety, education, and our youth. And through exchanging ideas about how the program would work and the logistics, we really built out what we feel has been a strong new asset to our neighborhood, which is the Warrior Watchers program.
We've seen programs like the Warrior Watch program, along with many others, that start out in Maryvale as a pilot program and go on to be something that's citywide, statewide, nationwide. A lot of things are started here, especially these community-based programs like this. I've worked in many areas with the Phoenix Police Department, and Maryvale is by far seems to have much more community engagement, community-based programs like this that you know start off in their infancy here and grow into something much larger that we would never have foreseen happening with this type of program.
Not other schools have this chance of having Warrior Watch in their schools, so I feel really lucky to have this program in my school.
I would encourage others to take this program in the fall because I learned a lot of things that I never knew and how difficult it is, but how rewarded you are.
Ultimately, when the program is successful, we have not only launched the first school-based Black Watch in the country, but we have really invigorated students to see themselves as agents of change in our neighborhood, to see the police department as a strong ally in keeping our communities safe and strong. And we'll be able to see, I think, a distinct change in how our students view the relationship with the police department. Over time, we certainly anticipate that through this program, students will light a spark in themselves around what inspires them. And we expect that we will have, in a couple years, some of our students and graduates at the police academy and joining the department to continue the goals of creating a safer and stronger neighborhood by linking community development and public safety. I think that's definitely a long-term goal for the program, as well as in the short term, ensuring that we have a strong link between the school and the police department, and that students are supported as they report public safety incidents to the department or to our school.
My highlight of the school year had to be the field trip. It was nice to kind of put some of the things together that I had presenters out on earlier in the year and let the kids actually get a visual aid rather than just somebody talking about something. They seem to be very engaged with the crime lab, seeing how we process all the CSI type stuff that they see on TV, and then to get them to see the down in the dispatch room, how they have to multitask and how the difficult job that our dispatchers have, which is a vital link to the police department also.
In the laboratory, I saw how they had to do a lot of steps to solve crimes and how the fingerprints and the guns I saw.
Getting to know how the crime lab is, like all the drugs that were, like there was new drugs and everything found, how people, like how DNA is a big thing in crime scenes too.
So what also happens as a result of this is trust. Trust in our communities, trusting the police department. No matter what your family dynamic is, no matter what your family situation is, one of the things that we have to be able to look through the lens of is victims and witnesses and the rule of law and justice and how that applies. And I think one of the things that this Youth Block Watch does is helps us bridge gaps between children and us, but it also helps us bridge gaps between the child and their family dynamic, whatever that dynamic is, whether there is substance abuse, mental illness, whether there is language barriers involved in that family dynamic with where they are currently in school and society. At the end of the day, what this whole process of sitting down and engaging in a positive, healthy environment with that police officer and that educator and creating this normalcy is it creates a relationship of trust. And with that trust comes comfort, and with that comfort comes the child's ability to be able to open their minds and start to see things in their neighborhoods and their communities that they think they can impact and have a positive impact on.
I think this would be a great program to go nationwide, as far as it can go to every school. I think there should be a police officer in this type of role to educate them and build these bridges with the youth in every school. Every school should have a police officer in there doing this to show them that there's more to the police department than just enforcement. That it's we've got a function to help people, to educate people, to provide resources to them, and show all the aspects of the police department. Not only for the transparency, but also to help guide them in possible career paths even.
Not other schools have this chance of having Warrior Watch in their schools, so I feel really lucky to have this.
So Warrior Watch has helped me become more safe, like talking to a police officer and not like being scared to talk to them. If like your parents are gonna get deported or something, there's someone that's gonna help you like go through everything step by step. So that's changed the way I look at police officers.
My job is to fight crime. Our job in law enforcement is to fight crime, put bad guys in jail, and create safety and security in those neighborhoods. And having that youth perspective almost on a daily basis that was directly connected and not being filtered through other bureaus or through other entities right into my crime suppression, our Phoenix Police Department crime suppression objectives became very powerful. It meant a lot to us. It meant a lot to the community and just tremendously increased that perception of and reality of safety in those neighborhoods.
My thoughts going into year two are at this point, how can I get them to engage more, and what can I bring to the table going into year two to expand on what we've already discussed and gone over with the kids.
When students are more comfortable with police officers and detectives, as they have become and built those relationships through the Warrior Watchers program, the field trip experiences they've had together, and by seeing the police department in a new light, there will organically be a more ready response for students to report and act on crime that they see in their neighborhoods. And because that relationship exists, students will become more comfortable in working with the police department, as will their families and the community at large, which will lead to a decrease in crime and an increase in safety in our neighborhoods.